Hey guys, welcome again to Tori Speaks. So, real quick, I want to talk about something that might be a bit spooky for some people, or for those who are religious or too religious, they might find it a bit, I don't know. But it's something that I've been researching from the scientific point of view, and it's something that I actually want to understand because I feel like in the world there are certain things that are beyond our understanding. That's why we believe in the divine, because there are certain things that are not really explainable in the physical. So what I want to talk about is out of body experiences or astral projection. Now, when I say astral projection, most people, especially if you're a Christian, you're going to be thinking witchcraft. I'm not talking about witchcraft. I'm talking about, let's just use a scientific term, out of body experiences. Now, something happened to me in 2016 during my NYSC, and it was a near-death experience. I almost died. And some people will be skeptical, but for me who experienced it, I am certain, and I'm saying this without a shadow of doubt, that I almost died that night. I was sick, recurrent sickness. It happened after camp. I was falling sick over and over again. And at some point, I was beginning to feel like maybe it was the environment, because sometimes you move into a certain environment and the energy is just not for you. Because when I'm in that house, there was a house that my friend's dad gave us. It was one of his properties, and he gave us out of the kindness of his heart. God bless him. Anytime I was in that house, I was always feeling sick. Whenever I leave the house, maybe to visit my friend in her own house, I felt better. When I went back to that house, I felt sick. It was very odd. But I digress. That's not what I want to talk about. So I was really sick and really, really sick. And my housemate then was always traveling to Lagos to see her boyfriend. So she was not around that particular weekend. And I was so sick, I could not breathe. I could not move. I remember just lying there on my bed and I could not even talk. People were calling me. I could not pick my phone. I literally could not move. So I was just praying in my mind and telling God, like, just worshiping and just praising in my mind. And just telling God that if this is how I'm going to go, I can't even find the strength to pick up my phone and say goodbye to my family. Then I was just putting my affairs in order, just kind of last prayers kind of thing, because I was so convinced I was going to die. I was not breathing. I had to be opening my mouth, and that itself was a lot of work. It felt like such a Herculean task to open my mouth and breathe, and because my whole respiratory passageways were blocked, and that was even before I got that diagnosis of bronchial asthma. So maybe that was it, but I don't know. But the fact was, I could not breathe, I could not move. I felt like, I felt like my whole body was turning to lead or turning to cement, like it was solidifying, like there was no fluid, like I could not move. Basically, I felt like a log of wood, and I was beginning to feel like it was not like it's really difficult to explain. So as I was feeling that way, at a certain point, it felt like I was looking down on myself. It felt like I was hovering over this at the ceiling, over the ceiling. It felt like I was hovering and looking down on myself on my bed, not being able to move. I was conscious. It was very confusing. I was conscious up there looking down on myself. So it was not like my full body was up there, but my consciousness was up there and I was looking down on myself. This is something that happened vividly. I was not sleeping and I remember it till date. I was looking down on myself and I could see myself on the bed there. I could read my thoughts, how I was just worshiping and just praising God and just saying, you know what, if this is it, no problem, just accept me, Lord. And I could not move and I was just looking down on myself, and it felt like there was this thick blanket that was just weighing me down, or something really heavy that was just weighing me down. And as I was worshiping, I remember just having a bit of strength, and I rolled, and my bed was a bit high. I rolled and rolled and rolled myself till I fell on the floor. And it was like that impact of me falling on the floor merged my body back together. So I was no longer having that sensation of me hovering and looking down on myself. It felt like I had gone back into my body. So how I explained it was like my spirit was actually already living. I was dying. My spirit was actually living, and I was hovering and seeing myself. So that thing we see in movies where spirits come out of bodies and they're looking at themselves. After I experienced that, I started seeing the logic in that, because that's how it was for me. Now, it was not like I could see my whole body. No, I could not see my body. I could not see anything. But I was looking down on myself, and I was looking down. I'm like, oh my God, you can't move. You can't. Is this it? So I was conscious. So it was a consciousness. So when people talk about astral projection, that your consciousness can leave your body and travel and experience things out of your body, people say it's witchcraft. But I experienced it, and I'm not a witch. So maybe it's because I was dying and I was closer to the spirit realm. Maybe that's an explanation. But I actually want to know, is there a psychological link to it? Is there something scientific? Because we don't understand the brain. We don't even know up to 5% of what the brain can do. It's possible humans have these superhuman powers that we think are superhuman, but might actually be imbued in us, and we've just not unlocked. So I just want to pick your brains. Like, has anybody ever had this sort of experience? Has anybody ever, in any form, or is it just me? Because for a long time, I could not share this with anybody, because they'd be like, it's like they've initiated you, take me for deliverance. If I tell my mother this, she's going to come for deliverance. That's fact. So I was just trying to understand it on my own understanding. And being that I'm a scientist, I try to be very scientific about things before I jump into the spiritual. But I'm trying to put a link between mind and body philosophy, because if you know Rene Descartes, he's a very popular philosopher in his time, and he was the proponent of mind and body philosophy, where he says that the mind is a separate entity from the body, and that those two things in conjunction is what makes up a person. So if the mind and body philosophy is actually a thing, then doesn't it stand to reason that it's possible that we can have out-of-body experiences and have that consciousness of our mind leaving our body and then returning to our body? Isn't it possible? So I just want to pick your brain. This is not going to be a long thing. Just, that was my experience. And what do you think? Do you think I was crazy? Do you think that it was some sort of trance? Do you think it's because I was really sick? Or how would you explain this if it happened to you? How would you explain this if it happened to you? And if you have any knowledge, or maybe you've read some books, because I've been checking for sources, but it's all inconclusive, and I'm looking for really concrete evidence and concrete, so I can do my research. I'm a researcher, and I have no problems researching. So if you have any sources on this and any explanation, just share with me, please, in the comment section. Just share with me. And as always, I'm open to questions. The reason why this thing came up for me is because I was watching this Behind Her Eyes. I just started watching this Behind Her Eyes, and when I first saw that scene where it was like a light, like a light leaving her body and wandering around, it just struck me that, wait, this is what happened to you. But for her, it was deliberate. Like she just lies down and it happens. So I'm trying to understand, how can we get to the point where we can actually make that happen with our consciousness? Because for me, I was not consciously trying to leave my body. I was really sick, I was dying, and I experienced that thing exactly as it was described in that movie. Her mind leaving her body and wandering around in the woods and coming back, and she going around and seeing her husband having an affair while she's in the house, and her mind is that something that you think is logical? Do you think it actually can happen, or is it just film trick? And how would you relate that to what I experienced? That's just my take, and I would like to hear yours. And just share and like, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, as always, please subscribe. And until next time, bye.